that .NET 8 Preview 1 has been released and is now available for download. This version includes several significant changes that will be fully released in November. In this video, we will cover the major new features and changes that were released. The latest devlog emphasizes native EOT ahead of time compilation as a significant feature. Native EOT was first introduced in .NET 7, and this release the focus is on refining the feature, including the size of the binaries. Publishing an app with native EOT creates a fully self-contained version of your app that doesn't require a separate runtime because everything is included in a single file. With Preview 1, this single file is now smaller, with Linux builds now up to 50% smaller. For those unfamiliar with EOT compilation, here are some primary benefits of using it. Reduced memory footprint. EOT compiled code requires less memory than JIT compiled code, as the JIT compiler generates intermediate code that isn't needed for EOT compiled applications. This can be especially advantageous for devices with limited memory, such as embedded systems and mobile devices. Improved startup time. EOT compiled code startups faster than JIT compiled code, as it eliminates the need for the JIT compiler to generate intermediate code and optimize the code for the specific hardware and software environment. This can be especially beneficial for applications that need to start up quickly, such as system services, serverless functions, and background tasks. Improved battery life. EOT compiled code consumes less power than JIT compiled code, as it eliminates the need for the JIT compiler to generate intermediate code and optimize the code for the specific hardware and software environment. This can be especially beneficial for devices that rely on batteries, such as mobile devices. Additionally, there have been some changes to .NET container images. The default Linux distro has been changed to Debian 12, and .NET 8 Preview container images will use the 8.0-preview tag and not 8.0. Transition to 8.0 with release candidate will be done. Running container images with non-root users has been a long-standing issue in the containerization world. By default, container-based images are configured to run with the root user, which is a setting that is typically maintained in production environments. However, this approach may not always be the best one to adopt, as it can lead to security concerns and pose a risk to the system. In practice, configuring each application to have a different user can be time-consuming and challenging. Furthermore, container images do not come with non-root user that is suitable for container workloads. With the release of .NET 8 Preview 1, a more efficient solution to this problem has emerged. From this version onwards, all container images that are published will be non-root capable. To run a container as non-root for Docker files, you can use the following single-line command, which is user in all capitals space app. In addition, you can launch container images with the -u app flag to specify a non-root user. Note that the default port has been changed from port 80 to port 8080. This is a breaking change that was required to enable the non-root scenario, as port 80 is a privileged port. In other news, both system random and random numbers generator in cryptography namespace have been updated with new utility methods that provide new capabilities for randomly selecting items from the input set with replacement and randomizing the order of a span. These new methods are called getItems and shuffle, respectively. Furthermore, significant changes have been made to improve performance and hardware acceleration in the core libraries. Specifically, Vector 256 has been rewritten to be internally 2 times Vector 128, resulting in increased performance on certain hardware. Other improvements include enhancements to matrix 3x2 and matrix 4x4, although detailed explanation of these changes is beyond the scope of this discussion. System.Text.Json has also been enhanced with the focus on improving performance and reliability of source code generation. New features include addition of snake case, kebab case, JSON serialize make read-only and is read-only APIs, and the implementation of missing member handling. Additionally, support for required and init properties and source code generation has been added. And System.Text.Json now supports serializing properties from interface hierarchies. Moving on, the core libraries now include new types that emphasize performance, such as the frozen dictionary, which disallows changes to keys and values once dictionary is created. Another example is the index of any values type, which allows developers to invest a small amount of time in front in exchange for much faster execution later. The creation of this instance handles deriving the necessary data in order to optimize subsequent searches. New methods like index of any in range and new overloads of index of any have been added that accept an index of any values instance. Finally, publishing and packaging now defaults to release profile, a change that many developers have eagerly awaited for a long time. Although this is not a major change, it certainly makes things easier. Moving on to Linux, .NET can now be built on Linux, which is a significant improvement for those developers who primarily use Linux as their operating system and are working on enhancing the .NET itself. In addition, the minimum baselines for .NET 8 have been revised. One notable change is that .NET will be targeting Ubuntu 16.04 for all architecture. This change is crucial in defining the minimum glibc version required for .NET 8. As a result, .NET 8 will not start on Ubuntu 14.04 and earlier versions. There's also more information about Linux. .NET 8 is now available in Ubuntu chiseled images, which are designed for developers who require the appliance-style computing more than what is provided by regular containers. Canonical and Microsoft are expected to support Ubuntu chiseled images in production by the time .NET 8 is released. In fact, we intend to exclusively ship the .NET-monitor images as Ubuntu chisels starting with .NET 8. Chiseled images have several benefits, including ultra-small images that reduce size and attack surface, no package manager which avoids a class of attacks, no shell, and non-root privileges, which also avoid another class of attacks. To produce chiseled images, you can follow pattern demonstrated by Microsoft ASP.NET App Example, which requires only one line change. So here it is, basically all the changes that have been made, and as you heard, you can find more examples on how to use certain features in the devlog itself. From me, that's pretty much all. Thank you all for listening. I hope it was a useful video. I hope you learned something new. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe and maybe check out our other videos. Thank you all for listening.